here with my channel update for December 2015, and a little late because we've basically been away since just after Christmas Day, and I've got a fair bit to go through here, so I'll get straight into it. So the first thing I do in these update videos is do other pickups. So these are pickups that I haven't shown a specific video for during the month, and they often include more modern items rather than the retro items. But of course this one also includes Christmas Day and Boxing Day. If I had the time, I would have done a separate video for those, so that's why we're overindulged with items. And because I've been away, I haven't actually had a chance to play with, or watch/use probably about half of the items here, so that'll happen in my next week of holidays. So, very first thing is actually something that I forgot to include in last month's video. Bought when the Back to the Future nostalgia was nice and high, and is actually a watch from China, and it's a clone of Marty's watch from Back to the Future. Battery ran out of my other watch, and I hadn't actually had a watch for probably about a month, and watch batteries cost about $15–20 to get changed. I just hadn't had a chance to go and get it changed, and I got that from China for $15 delivered, free postage. It was a no-brainer, and it's actually quite good. I only use it for the time. I don't really use the calculator bit, it's just for show, and I haven't even set a date on it, so I don't even use it for that particular function. So, but anyway, a nice little extra thing. Probably about my only pickup from earlier in the month, because it was on sale and I have always wanted to play it. Now it does lead into some other things that I ended up having to do, and it's a physical copy of Elite Dangerous. I didn't actually realise there were physical copies, but they had these on special. It was because they're bringing out the new version of the game. They had these pretty much 50% off. Right, it also, and I've only had a really quick game, and it was actually before I started messing around with my computer. I did actually get this to run in a window though. It wouldn't run full screen on what I call my gaming PC, which pretty much my second eldest daughter, who is a photographer, that's what she's studying at university, and she's quite good at it, has pretty much taken over that machine. And also a good friend of mine on YouTube, Ed T1138, sent me a ship code for Star Citizen, and I couldn't run that at all. I downloaded it on that machine and it just wouldn't work. And I'd been having a bit of go at StarCraft, the latest expansion on that, and I could only get that to run in a window as well, so I knew I had to go and get another graphics card. Now that's the only thing I haven't brought out here, so I went out and I got a GTX, I think it's a 950 Ti, which said it supported older PCIe. I mean, it basically said it needed a Titan 16 bus. Now what I didn't realise is that machine that I use as my gaming machine is actually an old Hewlett-Packard motherboard, and they've never released any BIOS updates, and it's only got PCI Express, even though it's Time 16 1.6, and there are some backward compatibility problems. So though the machine would start up and you'd see something on the screen, it would freeze at the BIOS. There are no BIOS updates for that motherboard at all, and I thought, oh god, what am I going to do? Now in my that very same daughter's bedroom, I have used a machine that was always crashing at a customer's premises, and they basically said just buy another one. And it was actually an i7 motherboard, so Intel i7 motherboard with, but it had PCI 3 on it, Express 3 on it. And I knew that I'd finally determined that the RAM was bad on it, but also since then it worked out that the hard drive was bad. So I basically said, well, I've already spent the money on this graphics card, which wasn't a lot. I mean, it's not top of the range graphics card by anything, but it's a pretty new graphics card for me. And I need at least this graphics card to be able to play all of these new PC games that I've got recently, so I need something. So I went to my PC hardware supplier and I got 2 brand new RAM chips, 2 4GB ones, so that gives 8, so it can run in dual channel. That was the only other problem. I got the machine running more stably by getting rid of the RAM that came with it and putting in a single 4GB stick, but that of course put it in single channel mode. Sorry for doing lots of PC speak in this particular pickup video, but it comes with the story. And whilst I was there, I said, well, I'm going to need a new hard drive, and they actually had a special plus with my wholesale price on a 240 gig SSD. So I put a 240 gig SSD, the 8 gig of RAM, which is suitable, that graphics card, and the machine works really well. And I've installed all these games, downloaded all the patches, also finally got on our fibre network down here, and then Christmas came around and we went away on holidays. So all that PC stuff, after doing all that setup and all that effort and work, I've hardly played with. So there we go, bad me. So stuff I will be doing anything, and that's inside the house. It's set up next to my daughter's machine. I've only got it on a single screen. I've given her the dual screens and basically said that that existing PC, that's hers now. So that's her editing machine and she does a good job. Actually, she just took some headshots for me today for other purposes, so we'll see how those turn out. Alright, so all that babbling, I've done the first item on my list. This is not going well, is it? So, Christmas. Okay, so Christmas. Now, this is technically an own buy that I gave to my wife to give to me. So I pre-ordered Star Wars Battlefront. So this game was in this box. In here is a t-shirt, which I haven't gotten out. Now, it's the largest size, which is a large. I actually do not know whether that's going to fit me. There's quite a nice large Stormtrooper mug in there. And there's a little keychain in there as well. So, not a bad pack. And so that came from my wife. Also from my wife was a Retron 5 black one. These were on special, and I had some US PayPal money. This is what we do nowadays. We're up to such an age that we basically ask each other what they want. We go and order it. It gets delivered or whatever, or bought, and the other person wraps it up and gives it to them. So I have had a play with this, and it's quite a good system. I mean, other people have seen Retron 5s. I mean, the controller's not the... so it's got all the different slots there, and you've got your Game Boy Advance slot in the front. I haven't tried that out yet. And I haven't tried a Genesis one, but I've tried a SNES, NES and Famicom cart, and they all work fine. I haven't updated it or anything. There's no SD card in there. I've only used this funky controller that comes with it. It's alright. And I suppose, look, it is wireless, so it does mean you can sit in a lounge room and sit back. But I didn't get very far in the games that I was playing, and I believe it was the controller. So I'll probably end up having a Super Nintendo controller in there, or maybe a Genesis controller. I shall wait and see. I'm not going to give an overview of that system. Everybody has done videos on that. Okay, also from my wife, and I haven't played this because the only daughter that didn't come with us is probably the one that would enjoy playing this the most, so I haven't played it yet because she wanted to play it with me. So we played this week, and I used to play Risk in the days of old. So this is the Star Wars edition of Risk, which, for those familiar with Risk, has quite a different layout. Rather than countries, you've got these space zones and Death Star zones and things like that. So I'm actually really interested to see how that plays compared to the original Risk. So it's still in its shrink wrap. Right. Pardon me. My eldest daughter gave me some Star Wars pajamas, which are actually really comfortable, and I've been wearing. So I won't be showing them to you because they're in my bed at the moment, so I'm still wearing them. My wife also gave me another pair of Star Wars pajamas, and I haven't worn those yet, and I've left those inside. But eldest daughter also gave me this 12-month calendar with the original Star Wars comics as the things. I haven't opened it yet, and I will. Must mean like a 2016 calendar. You might as well have it up, and I can put it up on the wall. I actually really want to improve, especially this side over here, the hang up some more of the posters I have, because like that Star Wars Battlefront came with a great big giant poster as well. And just having things like that hanging up just to make it look nicer up there. Now, Star Wars mug. So it's obviously a new release, and it's a great mug. And I've just had a coffee in it just before now, so it works really well. It's got, you underestimate the power of the dark side on the inside. So they look after me as far as Star Wars gear is concerned. Now for the next eldest daughter, who likes board games, she got me this game called Boss Monster. So it's a card game based, so you're basically a dungeon boss, and you've got to build a dungeon to trap the adventurers that come in, and it's actually a really cool game. We played this on Christmas Day. All of the cards are in, you know, retro 8-bit style art and everything like that. Just try to put that a little bit closer. But thoroughly recommended. We've only had a couple of games so far, and we're still working out the rules. Sometimes these games can be a little hard to understand exactly what they're talking about with some of the rules. We've had a couple of games and we think we've got it, so probably the next session we play, will, you know, the game will flow easier. But we had fun and we want to play it again. So very much like those. So that was Christmas, which that's a lot of stuff. I'm very happy with those. And also on Christmas Day, before I go to Boxing Day, my sister, who lives up in Bundaberg, Queensland, was down for Christmas, and she showed up with a bag of PC games. So these are all ones that they have played in the past. I haven't actually checked inside them for contents, and I'm only going to quickly go through the boxes here. So we have Sierra Pro Pilot. Actually looks like quite a nice flight sim. So it's probably going to take me a while before I get to these, but I will try and work my way through them. I'm jostling the camera again. 101 First Airborne in Normandy. That actually looks quite interesting. I said I should just sort of hand me the stack, and I haven't really had a chance to look at it through myself. Carriers at War Construction Kit. It's a slightly older one by the looks of it, 1992. They all feel like they've got heaps of stuff inside them. So there could be discs from other games in there and all sorts of things that I'll find. This one feels a bit lighter. So Robert E. Lee, Civil War General. And the boxes are in, you know, reasonable condition. This one's a little squishy. SWAT 2. So if I explain that my brother-in-law, from obviously my elder sister, is ex-army and police person, you'll understand the theme of some of these games. Lords of Magic. An original free. So this came free with something. Probably White's amongst these, because I actually couldn't see him playing this one. Looks quite interesting. Feels all there too, so we'll definitely be having a look at that one. And there's more. And Red Baron 2. So I just need to tidy up these boxes and see what's inside them, and then when I get time, have a go at them. And especially now that I have a dedicated gaming PC inside the house, I may actually be able to get to those. So thank you very much, big sister. Nice. So that was a bonus present. Right, so next. So the next day, the day after Christmas, is Boxing Day. And what happens on Boxing Day down in Australia? we have the big Boxing Day sale. So this is when things really are on special. And they have sales leading up to Christmas and sales after Christmas, but the Boxing Day is the one when you can find pretty good bargains. Now, my main thing of that is I just look forward to sitting at a table in the middle of our arcade, Cat and Fill Arcade in the middle of our town, having a nice coffee and breakfast, while my 4 girls and wife go crazy off and doing shopping and things like that. After a while, when things calm down for a bit, I usually go into JB Hi-Fi or EB Games. And I have forgotten one Christmas present, because my mother-in-law gave me a JB Hi-Fi gift voucher, but she also gave me this. I've put it in the wrong pile. So it's the Blade Runner Collector's Edition. It actually has a version of the Blade Runner movie I haven't watched, which would be really cool. So it's probably the one I'll be watching, which is the final cut. I have not watched the final cut. I've watched the theatrical cut, international theatrical cut, and the director's cut, but I haven't watched the final cut. So it'll be interesting in it. It's got a really nice book in it. It's got a little plastic car. The book's really good. I've actually had the book out and read that. Haven't had a chance to watch the movie. I can probably convince the family to watch that one, so they'll watch that one. So anyway, now that I've distracted myself, so at probably about mid-morning or so, and because I had the JB Hi-Fi voucher, I mean, I went and looked in EB Games, but there wasn't a lot there. There was one game that I wanted to get, and it was $1 cheaper than I got it in JB Hi-Fi, but they didn't have the other games that I was interested in. And I'll show the main one I was interested in. So I went in there, and they had basically had no percentage off on games, so they had games marked down, which was good, and they had 20% off Blu-rays. And it was off the marked price, so this was already fairly low. So that's basically a brand new release. I didn't buy a copy of Battle of 5 Armies for the normal edition, because I knew the special edition was going to come out. So and we've already watched this, so we pretty much watched this Boxing Day night, I think we did, or it was either that or the Sunday night afterwards, and it was good. We enjoyed it. Good version. So obviously that's all complete. We got all of the I mean, the Lord of the Rings ones are so far back that we got them in the DVD editions rather than the Blu-ray editions. And the other movie I got was, I've always had my eyes on this, but I haven't been willing to pay. It's normally been about $70 or $80, or even with 20% off, it was still a bit expensive, because I really liked the first movie, and I still like the other 2 movies, but I don't enjoy them as much as the first movie. But I don't have any of them on Blu-ray, so it's just nice to get them on Blu-ray. But this was already, it was only $48, the sticker was still on there, and I got 20% off, and it's the Matrix trilogy. So all 3 movies, obviously still shrink wrap, we haven't had a chance to watch that yet. And that was it for the movies, and then I got some games. So the main game that I've been keeping my eye on, but wasn't really prepared to pay you know, full price on, and is the dearest game in this lot, was Dragon Quest Heroes. So, and basically my mother gave me some money for Christmas, so these are, I basically added $10 to both the, so you add the gift voucher and the $100 from my mother, and got all of the movies and these discs. So we have Dragon Quest Heroes, which I'm looking forward to playing. Probably I will finish off another couple of games first. I definitely have enough PS4 games to keep myself going. Now I have replaced a game that I haven't played on the PS3 yet, because my PS3 in the room where my PS4 is no longer working, and it is only the Blu-ray drive that's not working, but it pretty much makes it useless. But I haven't played it yet on the PS3, so I thought I might as well get the PS4 version, since it is supposed to be the graphics that next level, and it's a game that's good to experience. So I'll probably be playing this one sooner than later. And then I got myself a time soak It's actually a game a local friend of mine has been pestering me to get a copy so that I can come online and play with him, so we'll see how that goes, considering I never got around to playing Skyrim, even though I have a copy for PS3. I got Elder Scrolls Online. It was out of this or the Alien Isolation, which was the cheapest game, but they weren't very expensive, so I have plenty to play on the PS4 now. So I've got obviously the Star Wars Battlefront. I have had a quick game on when did I start playing? I think that was Christmas Eve or something. It's not Christmas Eve, Christmas evening, and played it, and I can see how I'm probably going to play that for a while, work through all the single player missions and stuff like that, and I'm not sure, I'm not that comfortable with playing multiplayer, so we'll just see what happens. So I'll probably fairly quickly move on to these. Now I'm just trying to think, my daughter, third eldest daughter, actually got a PS4 game. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I'll flash the name of it up here because I'm not going to remember it, which took almost 56 gigabytes on my PS4 hard drive. So I hope she doesn't want to play it too many times, because it's taken me up to 400 gig of 500 gig just with the games that I have so far. Now I have pretty much inserted every single game that I have, bar these 3 that I just showed you down here. So hopefully I should have enough room for all of those before I have to start deleting games. Or I'm going to have to look out for one of those hard drive updates. Alright, that is all of the Christmas and Boxing Day pickups. Now, I did get, in addition to those, I did get some 3 Star Wars T-shirts and the other pajamas I mentioned, but I've worn all the T-shirts, so they're all in the wash. My favourite one is a red one. So, sorry, drink. I'm obviously talking too much. So, lots and lots of pickups, but Christmas, Boxing Day sales, it's the time of the year. So next I'd like to move on and do a Friday Foursome, since I've missed the last, I think I've missed the last 2, did I? I can't remember, but anyway, it's about time I did one. So the latest Friday Foursome is a very Christmas flavoured one, and it's favourite childhood gifts. So Novabug does these questions once a month. They're a great way to get the retro community talking and swapping videos and vlogs. It's excellent, always like taking part, so go and check out his channel. I'll leave a link down to his original video down below. Now I don't have many retro console stories from back in childhood, so all of the picks need to be a gift that you got as a child, so not things that you bought yourself later on when you were working and things like that. So only one of mine is going to be video game related, because I actually only received one video game console as a child, and this was a family present. This was bought for the whole family, but fair's to be fair, I probably played it more than anybody else in the family. And it was a Hanimex Pong console. So no, I never got an Atari 2600 or a Intellivision or even a ColecoVision. I desperately wanted an Atari 2600, I can tell you that much, and I loved going to my next door neighbours and playing their Intellivision, and thus why I have such strong nostalgia for those systems. But no, the only system we had was a Hanimex Pong system, and I have searched and I have searched online, and I still haven't found the model of this Pong system. It was non-expandable. I believe it had about 7 games. Actually must have more, because you could pay the normal Pong games, and then you had these other bike games that you could play with. And you only had an analog controller with a button on it. Did it have a button? Yeah, no, I'm sure it had a serve button, unless you had to press a button on the console. It is quite a long time ago, but it was made by Hanimex. It had orange buttons along it, as a lot of the Hanimex machines were, mostly white. But in difference to the other Hanimex console, pardon me, it had these motorbike games. So the idea was you had to move your motorbike from the left-hand side of the screen, right-hand side of the screen, and there'd be jumps, and you had to rev to jump the bike, or you had to go along up a ramp and jump a distance. And I believe there was a third game you had to do with the bike as well. So the 3 bike games, maybe that was it, 3 bike games and 4 Pong games. That's all there was, but we played that together, and I played it with probably my elder sister, and yeah, had lots of fun with it. So Anyway, right, sorry, and coffee fit. Probably should have taken a bigger drink. So the other nostalgic items would have been, I got, I think it was 3 Micronauts. The Micronauts were an obscure toy in the 80s. It's really hard to find information on it. I'll try and pop up some pictures if I find them. But they were artificial humans sent out into space to, you know, colonize planets and everything like that. And they're really cool. And I believe I had 3 Micronauts. I think I got 2 separate ones, just individual Micronauts, and 1 with a vehicle. And I played with those things heaps. Absolutely love them. Would have loved to have got more. I actually saw some recently in a local retro comics store. They actually had an old Micronaut set in there, one that I'd never seen. It had a train track, or monorail track as it was doing, with a base and things like that. Oh, very simple but lots of fun, fully articulated, not very big. And I suppose they were the main, you know, figures and things like that that I had back in the day. I never got any Star Wars figures back in the day too, by the way. And then probably my next most nostalgic was when I got Capella. Capella was a set of toys where you had modules, round modules with joints on all sides, and some of them had motors in them, others had gears, and you assembled machines from the Capella sets. And I got a Capella set. Okay, now a little break there for dogs barking, somebody passing by the house. So, and then I suppose to final off, my 4th pick would actually be Lego in general. I did actually buy a lot of Lego sets myself, but in my earlier childhood I got a lot of Lego City sets. Later on I added to those Lego sets when I was doing my paper round and things like that, so around the 12-13 mark. But earlier on I had a lot of Lego bought me. Well, I considered a lot of Lego back then. It included, I got started out with this huge original basic set of pieces that I was able, you know, I had lots and lots of blocks. And then these other small sets that I bought my parents over time, which I added to with other sets later. The Lego of which I sold in its completion to buy my first computer, which was a TI-99-4. I also sold the Capella, I had Meccano, a train set. Can't even remember seeing the Micronauts. I don't know what happened to the Micronauts. And I wouldn't have a clue what happened to that Handmix Pong console. Never know, when I go to my mother's and clean out her garage a bit more, I might find it. Alright, let's move on, because I've probably used up so much time as it is on those. Homebrew update. I have actually been very busy on this sort of thing. It is my particular passion at the moment, and will probably become more of a focus of my channel as well. So less of the pickups and things. Not that I won't stop doing that, just that I would like to focus on my homebrew a bit more. Now, I found copies of the book that I published in 1991 for the MSX and the Spectre Video, which is pretty much a comprehensive basic manual that included disk commands, how to program a game and everything like that. And I'm going to reprint that book, because it came in a large white folder, not very practical for sending to people. I don't have an electronic copy of it, however, so I've actually been typing that book back up again and laying it out again. When I finish that, I'm going to publish it in a small print run for those who want a physical copy with a new cover. I'm going to add my Beyond Basic articles that I published in the magazines back in the day, which enhanced the MSX and Spectre Video Basic with automated routines to animate sprites and things like that. I'm going to add that to the book and print it as both an electronic book for those who want to buy it like that, and a physical run. The physical run will only be small. I'm basically doing it for my own interests, and I'm sure some copies of that book will make it to some of my friends online. I have enhanced my MSX Sprite Editor, which has been mentioned in my Let's Make a Retro Game series. It is now a sprite and tile or character set editor. The character set editor side of things I would still say is quite primitive. It's a work in progress. The sprite editor, with some input from another YouTuber online person who I've met recently, who I'll mention in a minute I'm working on a game with. He's doing the graphics. Has made some excellent suggestions to improve the tool, so I've made most of those suggestions, and that includes having a little animation section, so you can add sprites to groups as an example, and then you can select a group and a frequency and it'll animate that constantly, so you can edit and at the same time see your changes directly affect the animation on the right. Very, very handy. And I've made lots of little fixes to that and turned it in more into a generic tool that I can add more things onto later. I haven't published that out to the wider world yet. Doing some testing, that'll be in the next couple of days. May even be later today. But I'm planning on going seeing Star Wars for the second time tonight, so probably not time. I am at the moment mostly focusing on my work on a CollectorVision project for the Super Nintendo, which is Justice Beaver, helping out with that project. It's progressing nicely. I'm getting more used to the Super Nintendo architecture. Now my next thing is 2016 releases. I'm not going to include any of the CollectorVision titles in that, only the releases that I count as my own personal stuff, and I'm not planning on specifically releasing a title for the Super Nintendo this year myself. I'll leave that to the existing CollectorVision titles. They take a lot more work to write a Super Nintendo game. You need a lot more graphics and sound. It's something that maybe I'll put as a goal to release something 2017, but 2016 I'd like to focus and get a whole lot of the 8-bit titles out. So you have Media Swarm for the NES will be coming out in the first quarter of this year. As well, Siddhis for the MSX and ColecoVision, first quarter this year, and later on in the year I'm going to make an NES version. It'll be interesting to see what I can do with my best-selling shoot 'em up for the NES. And then Cavern Fighter, which I've mentioned a couple of times in the past, it will finally be finished off for the Coleco and MSX. And when I say that, I also mean original spec video as well. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. So anything I bring out for the Coleco will be brought out for the MSX spec video. And also the Nintendo doesn't actually have a Scramble clone, so I'm also see if I can write a version for the NES afterwards. That will probably be later in the year though. So Cavern Fighter first half of the year for the MSX Coleco and Spectre video, and second half of the year for the NES. Sequest 99, not planning an NES one at this stage, but first half of the year. And a new arcade conversion specifically for the Coleco, but it'll probably end up being made for the MSX and Spec video as well. It will run on a standalone Coleco, but also support the existing Super Game module and the new Super Game clone module, which includes a voice chip, and it will support that voice chip. I'm not going to name the game because I don't want to take the initial naming away from my partner in this, who is doing all the graphics. So I'll let him do that on Atari Age, and then I'll make a video about it afterwards. And there's too much in this video as it is. I'm losing my voice again, see? So I've talked too long. Right, coming up, let's make a retro game. I really will get to publishing a video. I have the material written up for 2 episodes now, and I started recording the last episode but wasn't happy with what I did, so I'm going to redo it. So I'll get around that. I'm still on holidays for a little while. Hopefully I'll get time to actually do it, and I'll try and get a couple in the can so that they can be released over a period and I don't get so far behind. A to Z of my MSX collection. There'll be another one of those coming out soon. That'll probably be one of my next videos. Now I will have pickups, but I'm changing my focus in 2016. End of this year, and with the getting large shipments from Japan, and also the worsening Australian dollar, I'm really not going to focus on getting heaps of stuff from Japan. But because I have a couple of boxes on the way, those videos aren't going anywhere anytime soon. Because it takes, you've got a 2-month to even 3-month delay with some of the shipments lately. But I do have some more hardware on the way. I've actually found some more original Spectre video gear. That should be here in a couple of weeks, and I'll be doing a special video on that. So hopefully this year I'm going to work more and more on trying to restore my original Spectre Video software on disk. So hopefully this new hardware will help with that. And I'll try and do a few more videos on my retro hardware, because I've been ignoring them of late and I want to. Gameplays, I'll probably do more standalone gameplays. I also helped out online mate Interghost with his retro records, because his old site was lost. I actually wrote him a brand new site, all database based rather than blog based. It's not perfect because he ran out of time before Christmas to test it. We have made it live now. I'll put the URL down here and down below. Go and check out the retro record site and submit your records. You basically submit them through his Facebook page and get the site filling up. I do have a couple more changes to make for him in the next few days as I get time. It needs to cope for time-based games. Didn't think of that in the rush when I was putting it together, so it won't take me long to add that, and a couple of little bug fixes that he's found. And I really want to do a room tour. I'm just not happy with the mess that I have in this room, and that's why I constantly keep on putting up, because I've still got my eldest daughter's furniture in here, which is great for me sitting on the couch here, but really makes the rest of the room look messy, and I want to tidy up this side of the room before I do it. So give me a month or so and I'll get to it. So 2016 focus is highlight what I have rather than just blatantly accumulate more stuff, and I'm sure there is plenty here, interesting stuff that I'll be able to make videos of that you guys will be interested in. I mean, look, I've got my arcade machine over there that I need to progress. So I will keep videotaping that as I do it and continue that series. I have lots of retro machines here that I haven't had out for a while, that I need to get out, do some repairs on, and do some videos, and there's plenty of games that I need to catch up on. And I can make videos while I do those. But I'm going to try and swear myself off getting so many pickups, because I'm just starting to feel like I'm a little bit overwhelmed with the number of games and stuff that I have. So that's another thing, my collection now surpasses 2,500 items, and I think it's got to that stage where it's starting to feel claustrophobic, not through space, just through things. Yeah, so I don't want to lose the taste for my retro collection at all. So, not that I'm a trimming person, but there may be some things that I perhaps finally decide to trim. We'll just have to wait and see. I am a hoarder after all. Alright, so sorry for the lack of videos, but everybody's got to have holidays sometimes, and it's the time of the year, us Australians, it's the best time to do it. And I still am on holidays for a little while, but I'm at home, so it'll make it a little easier to make a few more videos. Alright, so I hope I haven't waffled too long, but I'm Electric Adventures. Thanks to all my subscribers, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.